Welcome to Chasing Circa Millions, a season-long journey swimming with the Sharks for a shot at a piece of $6 million. Each week of the NFL season, Dave and Matt will break down the schedule and come up with 5 picks against the spread to enter into the Circa Millions contest. Let's see what the guys come up with this week.
Here we go. Week 3, Chasing Circa Millions, where Dave and Matt put in 5 picks each week, going after the $6 million in prize money with the Circa Millions contest. Matt, how you feeling this week?
I'm feeling okay. I've been thinking a lot this week. I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Okay, I have 6 stone cold locks written down, so hopefully we'll be able to agree on at least 5 of those, and away we'll go. We'll be big winners. Okay, let's take a look at how we've done so far. Real quick. Okay, there it is. Week 2, Dallas Cowboys, -5. That was a loss for us. Cowboys lost by 4. Kind of a tough beat there at the end. Los Angeles Rams, that was one that we both definitely agreed on last week. That was a good winner for both of us. Detroit Lions, another one that I really liked last week, and they were easy winners. They really crushed the Bears. Then there was the Denver game, one of the toughest beats that we've had in the years that we've been doing this. Denver had that game, and then a penalty right at the end allowed Indy to come back and kick a second field goal, and they made it and won by 2. And then Baker Mayfield bailed us out with a very nice comeback win with just no time left on the clock to make us 3-2 for the week, 5-5 for the season. We moved up 500 places, which is great. And now we're 1,346 out of 5,700, which doesn't sound that great, but it does sound great that we were in the top 24 of the entry. So looking good. Let's move up another 500 places this week. How's that sound?
That works for me. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. Any thoughts on last night's Dolphins-Bills game?
Yeah, quick thoughts. Obviously Bills looked the part. I think they could have a pretty dang good season, maybe a 15-win season. They're in the driver's seat for the AFC. Dolphins a little bit feistier than I expected. Obviously 0-3 now. They're pretty much a dead team. I would expect Mike McDaniel to get fired pretty soon. But, they looked a little bit better, and they showed some life last night. What did you think?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was Tua being Tua again at the end, right? They had a chance to tie that game, which would have been a big shock. Miami played definitely a little better. I heard them complaining today that if they'd played as well as last night, they'd be 2-1 right now, but they didn't play as well as last night, the first 2 games. So, yeah, McDaniel's definitely on the hot seat. They've got a game this week coming up. I think next week, they host the Raiders, maybe? Anyway, that'll be a must-win game for them for sure. Definitely one that they'll need to win. Okay, Thursday night's game, we didn't have a pick. We didn't get any picks in for that, so I was not interested in that, and I take it you weren't either. So let's move on to this week's slate, and we will talk about, first off, the Colts and the Titans, one of my circled games. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, the Colts have obviously looked really, really good in the first couple weeks. I bet the Colts at -3 earlier in the week, and if it was -3 right now, I'd be banging the drum, flipping the tables for us to put them in the contest. The line's moved a little bit. I think it's 4 in the contest. Is that right?
It's 4, yes.
And I'm seeing 4.5 elsewhere. I think it's kind of bouncing around between 4.5, depending on where you're looking. Be probably Colts or nothing for me. Thank you. Colts have looked really good. My only fear is I don't want to overreact to what we've seen. It's still Daniel Jones at quarterback, right? And the Titans, they played a couple of tough teams. I'll definitely give them that. And their defense has, I think, actually been a little bit better than I expected, and so is Cam Ward. And they are a divisional home dog, so there is something to be said about that. But, this is kind of one of those games where Titans are a bad team. Colts seem to be a good team. I probably want to be on the good team. But, given our a little bit uncertainty being in only week 3, and I know you sent me that 0-2 team stat earlier in the week. The 0-2 teams against the spread are usually pretty good. That scares me a little bit. So I'd like to hear what you have to say about this one.
Yeah, I'm drinking the Indiana Jones Kool-Aid. Colts have looked pretty good. They've moved the ball well, looking really good on offense. I think Jonathan Taylor's going to have a lights-out game in this one. Jones has been a lot smarter with the ball for some reason. I'm not sure whether it's a change in coaching, a change of atmosphere, whatever, but he's playing really, really well. On the other hand, Cam Ward, I would say he's probably improving in small amounts each week, but I don't think that Titans defense is really that good. And they've got some injuries on their offensive line. They're getting a lot of pressure on Cam Ward. And I just think this is the type of game that the Colts are going to go in there and prove that they're the real deal. That I think I don't have a problem with them going on the road. As you said, the line's been moving from 4 to 4.5. There's money coming in on the Colts. That bolsters my feeling about this game a little bit more. But we can come back to that a little later on when we get to our final picks. Okay, how about Falcons-Panthers? I'm very impressed with the Falcons. They've played very well the first couple of weeks. Their offense looks to be humming. Michael Penix seems to have made some strides. He's looking pretty good this year. And then you've got the Panthers being the Panthers, right? Everybody was thinking, well, Bryce Young, this is third year. He's going to be much improved. They played well at the end of last year. Everybody was expecting a lot of them coming out of the gate this year. And they've ended up being the same old Panther, same old, same old. Not really interested in laying 5.5 on the road, however. The Panthers may be due for an improved performance. The Falcons, definitely the better team here if you match up the teams side by side on offense and defense, but kind of a tough division game, 5.5 points, kind of a weird number. What do you think?
Yeah, I see 5.5 is about fair, based on how I was making it and looking at some of the composite numbers. Um, the Falcons have looked good. I totally agree. I think they probably should have won that first week against Tampa, honestly, if you kind of look at things. And, you know, Panthers, obviously I don't put much into the late fourth quarter rally. I mean, Arizona was just sitting back and playing prevent defense, trying not to lose the game for basically the entire second half. So I don't put really anything into what, the Panthers did in the second half. So I'm not impressed with them at all to start the season. And I don't think that's an overreaction because I wasn't high on them to start the season either. We were betting against them off the bat. We almost bet against them last week. I'm glad we didn't. But no, I'm probably going to stay away from this game. I mean, 5.5 is a lot to be laying on the road, especially in division games. So, I guess, if you had a gun to my head, I'd probably play the Panthers just out of principle, but I would feel horrible the entire game and leading up to it, right? So,
Right. Agreed. 100%. Okay. Raiders, Commanders. Raiders, great week 1, not so great week 2. Granted, they had to play a very tough Chargers team. Commanders, no Jaden Daniels this week. Going to see Marcus Mariota. This line is currently at 3.5. It's moved down to 3 in most places that I'm seeing. I think that's just been moved since Jaden Daniels has been out. Seems like it should move more than half a point, but not a game I'm really interested in. I'm not sure how Marcus Mariota is going to operate. He's got experience for sure, but that experience is not great. And Geno Smith, they've got a lot of injuries on the Raiders, a lot of questionable guys, including Brock Bowers. Tough one for me to bet on this one. How about you?
yeah, I don't mind the Raiders when we're getting a little bit of a point value here. Obviously, I'm seeing between 2.5 and 3 in the market, and we're basically getting a point or a half point. I don't mind that. Obviously, Gino looked terrible last week. I think that was just a bad spot for him. Going against the Chargers defense is really good. The Commies defense, I don't think is, a world beater by any mean. They're probably a middle of the line. Raiders defense I still think is pretty good. My big thing is, I think the Commanders, it's a big downgrade not to have Jaden Daniels, right? I mean, he's been amazing for them, and he's probably the main driver for their success. So, I was kind of looking at the Raiders and kind of intrigued by them here. I think, they'll have a chance to stay in this game, barring any hiccups from Geno. The thing that concerns me is the Raiders really haven't been able to run the ball like at all. Like Genti has not looked that great to start the season. I'm not really sure why. But it's a Chip Kelly offense, so you'd think they'd be able to move the ball a little bit more. So that's a little bit concerning for me. It probably wasn't one of my top 5 picks, but it was something I was interested in.
Okay, fair enough. Moving on, we will go to Packers and the Browns. Circa line for this is 7.5, which is always a tough line. Seeing a few eights out there at BetMGM, Bet Rivers, a couple other places, moving a little bit. Money coming in possibly on the pack on this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I've actually kind of flipped my opinion on this one. Early on, I was really liking the Packers, even like at 8.5. Like, I thought maybe like this game, just based on how Green Bay's played and who they've played, like that maybe this one should be closer to 10. But looking at the Browns' performance, um, they actually didn't play that bad last week against the Ravens. I know the final score wasn't too great for them, but they actually played pretty well. I think they only allowed 250 yards of offense, which is pretty good. Now I know on offense against the Raiders, I know that they were struggling to move the ball a little bit, which would be my main concern. But you know, I just don't know if I wanna lay that kinda juice with Green Bay on the road, and, I don't wanna overreact to how Green Bay's played. They've won both their games against pretty good teams, but they were both at home, right? So, maybe this could be a little bit of a letdown spot. I don't by means see the Browns winning this game, but maybe they have a chance to stay in it with that defense. What do you think?
Yeah, I had the Packers as one of my circle teams. There's I was liking them all week long. The only concern I have, and I don't know if you can back this up, but where I'm looking at right now is Cleveland only has 31% of the bets, but they have 76% of the money. So there's money coming in somewhere on the Browns on that, and that's got me a little bit worried. The Packers were one of my circle games. I had them about a 9-point favorite, maybe 9.5. So, but I wouldn't. For me, it would be the Packers or anything. The Browns, um, they're still struggling a little bit at quarterback. I'm not sure if they can score enough points to keep up in this game. The Packers offense has been humming along. They're obviously without Jaden Reed, but they've got plenty of weapons on the outside. The one other thing that scared me is I also heard today that Tyler Kraft is going to be out for the Packers, and he leads them in receptions, targets, and yards. So um,
Yeah.
maybe this is probably turned into a stay away game for me, possibly, and not. I might take the eraser to my circle around it.
Right, yeah. What from I'm seeing on the money, I'm seeing all the money, all the bets, 73%, 78% on the Packers, but obviously this line's kind of reversing on them a little bit. DK is still showing 8.5, right? Like, if this was 8.5, I'd kind of be pushing for the Browns a little bit. At 7.5, I don't really see it that much. I'd like to get that extra point. Now, granted, does it really land on 8? Like, I don't know. But I don't know. I think this is maybe a bit of a trap line. I could see a lot of the survivor entries being on the Packers as well this week. Them or maybe the Seahawks. It probably wouldn't be a bad spot to use the Seahawks or the Chiefs. But I don't know. I got a little bit scared off despite liking what I've seen from the Packers and who they played.
Yep. Agreed. I think it's a tough one. Okay. Next up, we've got the Bengals at the Vikings. It's another one I circled. Maybe one that we'll disagree on, but it's stuck on 3. I like the Bengals in this spot. Vikings are just decimated with injuries. Injuries on the offensive line, injuries in the defense. They are just totally banged up. It's going to be they've lost their starting running back, although they do have a good backup in Mason. But Bengals have been playing kind of, they've had a couple of close wins, right? But they've played well. They're obviously missing Joe Burrow, but I think the guy that's coming in to replace him has played a lot of games for them, and I think he's going to be comfortable in that offense. And I think the Bengals should be okay. The Vikings, they just worry me a lot with all these injuries they've got. And what are you going to get out of Carson Wentz? I'm not sure, right? He might be their savior. He's obviously got the experience, but I'm not sure what to think about him coming in.
Yeah, I don't really have much of an opinion on this game. I mean, I don't know what you're gonna get from Carson Wentz, right? Like the last 2 games I think he's played, maybe he played like week 18 or something for the Chiefs last year when all the Chiefs backups were in, and then maybe he played like a week 18 game for the Rams or something. he hasn't played. I mean, it's just you don't know what you're gonna get. And at least with Jake Browning, I kinda do know what I'm gonna get, and I think he's actually a pretty good backup quarterback, like, probably one of the better backups in the league. So, I like the way you're thinking on it, like, I would be Bengals or nothing, but it wasn't one that I was, like, jumping out of the page at me, it's like, "We need to bet this," you know?
Hmm.
I had other ones that I was probably higher on than the Bengals, just because of the uncertainty at quarterbacks.
Right. Okay. This might be a tough week for us to come up with five. Who knows? Got a lot of games to go, though. How about the Rams Eagles? How do you feel about this one?
Yeah, well, this was my favorite game of the week. I wish it was still 4.5, but that number got kind of gobbled up pretty quickly. But I like the Rams a lot in this spot. I think, you know, they played a couple of, you know, they played the Texans, who I think are not that bad, and we'll get to them later. And then they took care of business against the Titans. That was actually the biggest win by margin in the McVay Stafford era, if you could believe that, that win against the Titans. So, the Rams defense looks good. Their offense is humming with Stafford. They seem pretty healthy for the most part. Flipping to the Eagles, I'm pretty concerned, honestly, early on about their offense. I don't know if it's the new offensive coordinator or what's going on, but Hertz has, I think, 250 passing yards on the season in 2 games. Like, that is not good. I know they can run the ball and whatever. They have a great offensive line. They have the tush push. But to beat this Rams team, you're going to need to do more than that, right? Because the Rams are they're not like the Chiefs who are beat up on offense. They're going to be able to score some points, I think. And I don't know. I just think, this would be a spot where the Rams have a chance to win this game. Like, they could win this game. Um, so I really like that 3.5. I mean, I think it should be closer to 2.5, maybe 1.5. I'd like to hear what you have to say, though.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you 100% on this. I like the Rams for sure in this game. Couple of reasons. Again, we'll go back to the betting splits. 46% of the bets on the Rams, but 70% of the money. The other thing, the Eagles have 2 wins. They've beaten what I would consider a very middling Cowboys game, just by a Cowboys team, just by 4 points. And then they went and granted, it's an impressive win to go into Kansas City and beat that team at home. But I don't think Kansas City is the Kansas City that we've known for the past couple of years. Their offense is certainly struggling this year. A lot of lack of weapons on the outside and that type of thing. So yeah, the Eagles have 2 wins, but to me, they're not impressive wins, not like some of the wins you've got out of like Buffalo, for instance, or whatever. And the Eagles' defense is, they've given up 20 and 17 points, which is certainly not bad. But I think there's some opportunities there for Stafford to take advantage of that. And the Rams have a well balanced offense as well. And I'm not taking anything away from the Eagles. I still think they're probably a 13 or 14 win team. Very good team. But I think it's a good spot for the Rams. The only worry I'd have is it's always a tough trip to come from the West Coast to go east and play in an away
Well,
game.
I think they stayed on the East Coast. I would imagine they probably just stayed on the East Coast. I haven't read into this, but they were playing the Titans at Tennessee last week, so I'd imagine they just stayed on the East Coast.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't read where they've done that either way or whatever. So yeah, I'm not sure about that. That would have made sense, but I don't know if they did that or not. Yeah.
And, a couple other small angles. I mean, like that Cowboys game, right? Like they put up 24 on the Cowboys, whatever, they win good. And they were kind of ball controlling the second half. Like that's fine. The Giants put up 40 on the Cowboys. The Giants, like they put up 40 on them. Like that's the kind of thing I expect the Eagles to do, not the Giants, right? And then like you also think I was listening to a tidbit today about this tush push thing, and I don't know if you've seen the clips online, but it kind of looks like they're lining up off sides, maybe some false starts. Apparently, McVay has brought this up to the league office, like the officiating. So, a sneak peek preview. I don't know if the tush push is going to be the play for this entire game. I think they might start calling some stuff on that. So we'll see. I'm glad we both like the Rams. So
Yeah.
that's definitely going in there.
Yeah, I think they've been talking about some false starts or things like that going on with the tush push. Yeah,
Offsides,
offsides,
yeah.
whatever. Yeah, I think we both like the Rams. Okay, let's go to Foxborough, where the Patriots are getting 1.5 points from the Steelers. Gonna take a look. Yeah, this is so wacky. There are places out there like Caesars, um, where Pittsburgh is -2. I'm seeing places where Pittsburgh is at 1. There's even one place that had it at a pick for a while. This line's been jumping all over the place. Right now, it seems to have settled down at 2, but there's been some money going back and forth on this game. I'm not sure which way it's ending up. I think right now, most of the money in the bets are on the Steelers, about 62% of it. This is a tough one for me too. The Steelers looked good in the first game. Granted, it was against not the best competition, and they looked bad in their other game. The Patriots, same thing, right? Did not look good hosting Seattle, and went down and just barely beat a horrific Miami team, right? So I don't know what to think. Are you going to get the great Aaron Rodgers, or are you going to get the lot of interceptions Aaron Rodgers? Are you going to get a good running game, an offensive game from the Patriots? Their defense has certainly not been very good this year, for sure, the Patriots. So that kind of worries me. If anything, as much as I hate to say it, I'd probably have to lean Steelers in this game just because they probably have the better offense at this time. And the Patriots' defensive backs have looked suspect. And Aaron Rodgers, with his experience, on a good day, could pick them apart.
Yeah, I kind of like the Steelers in this one. It was probably one of the few that I was like kind of interested in. Um, I think they looked bad last week, but you have basically a very fluky Seattle touchdown. I don't know if you saw that, but they kicked off the Pittsburgh player, I guess, like touched it or something, and then like let it or like didn't touch it and just let it go into the end zone. It was just sitting there. It was a live ball, and Seattle recovered it for a touchdown.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
so there's 7 points right there. So you take that off, what that game is
24-17. Yeah.
24-17. Like, that doesn't look as bad, compared to the final score. I think Seattle's defense is elite. So, that's a little bit different. Now, Steelers team, this is kind of a tough travel spot too for them, right? I mean, they were just at what they were, no, they were at home, weren't they?
Yeah. They were home against the
Okay, so never
Seahawks.
mind. They were at home. So the travel spot's fine. I just don't think the Patriots defense is there yet. And the offense, sure, they can move the ball on Miami, but I think Pittsburgh's defense is probably around the same as the Raiders, maybe a little bit better. So I don't know. I kind of like the Steelers here. I think Rodgers has the experience. Tomlin has the experience. I think Vrabel has kind of like that same Tomlin kind of mentality and could make things interesting. But no, I think the Steelers would be the right play here for me.
Yeah, I don't know what the total is on this game, but it's got to be fairly
It's
low,
gotta
I
be
would think.
low.
It's got
It's
to be
gotta be
low,
low. I mean, it's
one
gotta
would
be in the
think.
30s.
Yeah, the only thing concerning me is, the first game, the Jets put 32 on the Steelers. Last week, the Seahawks 31, we'll call it 24, considering they had that kind of wacky play, right? So I put the Seahawks offense better than the Patriots offense for sure.
Right.
So yeah, I think it probably comes down to, I think the Patriots defensive backs are so poor that there's a chance that they get shredded with a couple of big plays, right? And I think the Steelers probably are putting up 24 or 27 points on the Patriots, and I'm not sure the Patriots have the offense to answer back. Yep. Okay. Moving on, we got the Jets, Tyrod Taylor led Jets this week, going to the Bucks. I can kick this one off. I mean, I'm almost ready to buy a Baker Mayfield jersey, right? I mean, he's turned his career around.
Did we bet on them on week 1 too?
I think we did. Yeah, that was at Atlanta. So we're 2-0.
Yeah, I think we did too.
Taking the Bucks. Unfortunately, I don't think this is the week to take the Bucks. I don't want to take the Jets, but the Bucks just have a way of winning games, close games, and they've played a tough Atlanta team. They played a tough Houston team at Houston, and they should take care of the Jets without a problem. But it's kind of a funny spot. They're coming off 2 real close wins. And I just don't trust the Bucks giving this many points. And the Jets have proven that they're able to keep up. We just talked about, they kept up with the Steelers in that first game, right? So they're kind of feisty. The Jets. They're kind of they're not a good team, but they're a team that you don't really want to play because they cause you a lot of problems, right? And again, who knows what we're going to get out of Tyrod Taylor, but he may be an upgrade a little bit. And this game kind of worries me.
Yeah, I'd be on the Jets here if anything, honestly. It's one that was maybe like a fringe, top 7 area. Obviously, I wasn't loving a lot of the games. Um, the Bucks, I'm a little bit concerned. They have a lot of injuries, it seems like, on their offensive line, and they kept on talking about it on the broadcast, right? And it just seemed like they were riddled with injuries. And obviously, they've won 2 good games against 2 good teams. I don't want to overreact to their line. I don't want to overreact either to what happened to the Jets last week. So, um, you know, I'm trying to reminisce a little bit about what happened in their first week. So, yeah, it's just the number. I mean, I think if it was 7.5, I would be like maybe a little bit more saying like, hey, maybe we should look at the Jets here. But 6.5, I don't really care. I haven't seen enough from the Jets yet. I kind of know what Tampa Bay is, but I need to know more about what the Jets are. I think they'll have a better defensive game plan than they did in the last game. So we'll see. I think this will just be an interesting one just to watch and evaluate, figure out what the Jets are. But I don't want to take a stand on this game, I don't think.
Yeah, you're correct that the Bucks offensive line is decimated with injuries and that. How about this? 36% of the bets on the Jets, 84% of the money.
That's why the line's moving in their direction.
Yeah. I don't see it. I still see it at 6.5 at everywhere that I look.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, it just opened at 7.5. So,
Yeah.
like, if it was there, maybe I'd be like,
Yeah,
could
if
be
it was
something to look at. But yeah,
7.5, if it was
I see
7.5,
6.5.
I'd be on the Jets, I think. So it's kind of like you say, a good game to just sit back and watch.
Or it could be a terrible game to watch. It is the Jets. So
It is, could be. And, Baker may come out of his close games slump and beat them by 25. Who knows? Okay, what do you think about Texans Jags?
I fear we might be in disagreement about this game because I am like all over the Texans this week. This is like the perfect time to bet on the Texans. They are 0-2, need the win, but look at who they've played, right? They played 2 playoff caliber, really good teams, right? They played the Rams, they held them to 17. They probably should have won that Bucks game. Obviously, Baker did a Baker thing, but they had a drive and they moved the ball a little bit. Now, their offense has been really disappointing, right? But let's look at this Jags defense, right? They just allowed Jake Browning to put up like 34 points on them, right? Like, or was it 34? I don't know how
31.
much they ended up. Yeah, 31, right? Like, I don't think the Jags defense is really figured out yet. Now, and Trevor Lawrence, right? I know you said last week you were drinking the Trevor Lawrence Kool-Aid. He looked bad in that game. He threw 2 interceptions, right? Like, they should have won that game like 9 times out of 10. They're up 21-7 or 21-14. I stopped watching it. Like, I thought it was just over. Jake Browning comes in. Jake Browning throws 3 interceptions when he comes in and they still lose. I don't know what's going on down there. And like the Texans, everyone's off the Texans, right? Like no one wants to bet on the Texans. So that's when we need to bet on the Texans because they're still a good team, I think. And I think it could be a good spot for them to get right against, the Jacksonville defense that I don't think is that good.
Yeah, we're not going to disagree on this one. I've got this one on my circle games, and I have the Texans.
Oh, you have the Texans.
Yes,
okay.
I do. Yes, I am still. I've got my Trevor Lawrence Kool-Aid here, but not this week. I think they're a good bet against similar or lesser competition. I don't think that the Texans are similar competition. I think the Texans are a far superior team to the Jaguars. I think they've played a couple of tough games, the Texans. And you're right, the Jaguars, how many games in the NFL where the opposition throws 3 interceptions and you don't win? That's just hard to believe, right? So
It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen.
yeah, I'm definitely on the Texans this week. They've played superior competition. I just noted that how many games in the NFL over the course of a year would you see where a team throws 3 interceptions and they still win the game? So, it's difficult
Like
to
when Goff threw 5 last year and they still won.
right. Yeah. So, I think the Texans, they've also, it's time for their offense to come alive, and I think this is a good spot for it. I don't think the Jaguars' defense is anything to write home about. So, yeah, I think we can just move along. I think we're in agreement on the Texans for sure.
Great. We got 2, at least 2 that we're in agreement on.
Yeah. What was the first one? Oh, the Rams. Oh, yeah, we got the Rams going. Yeah,
Rams.
that's for
Rams.
sure. Okay. Um, I don't really need to say too much about this game. Broncos Chargers. I don't like this game at all either way. The Chargers have been very, very impressive. Yes, they are good. They are rolling, no doubt. The Broncos, they've had their struggles. They're coming off a tough loss. I think there's a bad taste in their mouth. They certainly have a good defense. I think this will probably be the best defense that the Chargers will face for sure. But I think this will be a great game to watch, not one to bet on.
Yeah, not much for me to say here. I kind of early in the week, I kind of wanted to be on the Chargers, but I don't want to overreact to what we've seen from the Chargers, and I don't want to overreact to what we've seen from Denver either. I guess if I was, same thing with Falcons Panthers, right? If I was gun to my head and you said make a pick, I pick the Broncos plus 2.5. Division dogs. I guess I'll just take them, right? But I don't want any part of this game, honestly. So we can move along.
Okay. Let's see if we're going to argue on this one. Another one of my circle games coming up on the last 2 that I have. I really like the Seahawks this week. I think that this is the old go against the bad teams. Spencer Rattler's first game away from home. Seahawks bad performance last week, but I think they
Bad performance?
sorry 2 weeks ago, much better last week. I think the last game their opener they lost at home. Is that correct?
Opener, they lost. I thought they were at San Francisco.
Yeah, I think no, they're at the Rams. They lost. Sorry.
No.
No, San Francisco. Yeah, they lost at home to San Francisco, and then they beat the crap out of the Steelers. Sorry. So,
Right.
excuse me. So, they have a great home field advantage. They did lose to San Francisco. That was a tough game, 17-13. But then they went out over to the East Coast and put a whooping on the Steelers, right? So, if you're doing power rankings, where are you putting the Steelers versus the Saints? Quite a separation there, right? I'll agree that the Saints have been a little feisty. Yeah, they were okay, but they were at home. This is a tough trip for Spencer Rattler out to the West Coast, hostile environment. I think the Seahawks are going to put it on them. Helps me a little bit that this line has moved to 7.5 and kind of stayed there because usually at 7.5 there's some buyback, but I haven't seen that anywhere. So I'm in on the Seahawks. What about you?
Yeah, I'm really in on the Seahawks. I mean, this is going to be New Orleans' first away game. Man, I think Seattle could really lay it on him here. This will definitely be, of the 2 defenses they face, San Francisco and Arizona, this will be the best one they might face all year. Maybe not the best one, but certainly a top 5 that they'll face all year. And I think Seattle's a top 5 defense. I'm not overreacting to what I saw in Seattle on offense, but it's the Saints. I don't think that they need to do anything crazy on offense. I think if they put up between 20 and 24 points, that they'll probably cover this number. So I'm all over the Seahawks this week. I love them. I love them at home. I realize the Saints are 0-2. They deserve to be 0-2. They're terrible. They did sneaky cover last week against San Francisco somehow, but I
Yeah.
don't think that that's this week. That was a home game, and this is an away game, and I would not want to be playing at Seattle.
Yeah, that was a home game, and they were playing against a San Francisco team that was so decimated with injuries. I was afraid that San Francisco was going to lose that game. In fact, I think we kind of missed the boat not taking the 49ers last week because even despite their injuries, they were obviously a better team than the Saints. Obviously, they only won that game by by a slim
5.
margin, 26-21, but they
Yeah.
were only giving a point and a half or 2 points. Pretty good win by San Francisco. They showed some toughness on the road, but yeah, this is going to be a bad spot, I think, for the Saints right here.
Yeah, I agree. I
Okay.
am all over the Seahawks, so glad we're in agreement there.
Yep. Let's keep moving along. Cowboys Bears. Cowboys giving 1 in this game. I'll let you go on this because I've got to think.
So it's kind of gross, but I think this is maybe the time to lay it with the Bears, right? Like Chicago or Cowboys, let's be honest, they should not have won last week. They look terrible. They got a 40 piece or something laid on them by the freaking Giants, right? The Bears, I certainly think, are better than the Giants. And that was at home for the Cowboys, not a road game. That was at home. They got 40 laid on them or something. I don't know what it was. We talked about it a couple times, but it was a lot. It was a lot of points that they got laid on. Cowboys defense is terrible. I hate Caleb Williams with a passion. Think he's a bad quarterback, but I got to take the 1 with the Bears here. 0-2 at home, catching points. And no one wants to bet on the Bears. Even the Bears fans don't want to bet on the Bears. This would be the time where I think you'd bet on them. Like maybe the one time all year we'll bet them. The Cowboys, their defense is terrible. I think their offense is fine against bad defenses. I think the Bears are actually not that bad of a defense. I mean, I think, they had a very bad showing last week against the Lions, but they ran into a buzzsaw, obviously, after what happened to the Lions in week 1. I think, this would be the time that you bet them. Like off of a blowout, they're at home, they're 0-2. They're facing a team that I think they should be about the same, approximately. I think they could win this game. I just didn't like enough other games to where I was like, I saw this Bears line. I was like, they're catching points. Like, okay, you go ahead.
What's the opposite of drinking the Kool-Aid? Throwing it up? I don't know.
You're Jim Jones in it. You're sipping the Kool-Aid and you're falling over. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's the way I feel about Caleb Williams. I can't trust him. The Cowboys, the Bears defense is not good. The Cowboys are going to throw on them like there's no tomorrow. This is going to be a very high scoring game. I just can't. The Cowboys running game has improved a little bit the first couple of weeks. They have all those weapons on the outside. Dak is almost like Caleb's mentor, right? He tends to throw a pick just when you don't need it as well, too. So I really did not like this game. I couldn't take the Bears. I think this is one of these stay away from bad teams, and I think the Bears are a bad team. The way I see them now, I can't see them winning more than 4 or 5 games. I just don't like the Bears. And I'm not a lover of the Cowboys either, but their offense has the opportunity to score on you. So, maybe it's the Bears or nothing, but it wasn't a game that I was really had even on my radar.
That's fair enough. I cannot refute anything that you're saying because I'm only saying we picked the Bears just because I don't think anyone would want to pick the Bears this week.
Right. Yeah. It's probably one
And
of those games.
It'd be like the one time where like no one wants to pick the Bears.
Right. Yeah. I would think that the Cowboys, there's a possibility that the Cowboys could be a consensus pick this week. So going the other way would be, good game theory, good contrarian. So, okay, we can come back to that. Here's another game that I don't really feel like we need to discuss in a long time. I don't know what to make of this Cardinals 49ers game. Brock Purdy is a maybe. Probably not. Mac Jones was okay. The Cardinals, they haven't lived up to the expectations that I wanted to see from them so far this year. They have, a ton of weapons. They're 2-0, but they've beaten the Saints and the Panthers. But I don't know what to make of a San Francisco team who's riddled with injuries again. Granted, they got by the Saints last week, but I don't know what to make about them either because they're just too many question marks in my mind. I have no interest.
I know we said we wouldn't ever throw out any games this year because we wanted to keep an open mind and look at every single game and then analyze, but I wouldn't touch this game with a 10-foot pole. Like, the 49ers had a good win, I think, against Seattle, and then they beat the Saints. Fine, whatever. The Cardinals, like you said, have beat the Saints and the Panthers. This is like the ultimate. You have no clue how either of these teams are at all. And with the 49ers, like, if the 49ers weren't so injured and they had those 2 wins, I'd be like, okay, we should be taking the 49ers here. But, like, no. There's no way I'm laying it with the Cardinals when you've only beat the Saints and the Panthers. And not, like, really beat them either. Like, you kind of, like, were a little bit scared in both games. So, like, completely passed. Like, cannot pass hard enough.
Right. Yeah, I think if the 49ers were at full strength, this game is 4.5, 5.5 for the 49ers, right? So
Right.
just too hard to tell. Okay, let's hop over to my week 3 lock of the week. I love the Chiefs. They're 0-2. They've got it. This is, there's no must wins in week 3, but a team that goes 0-3 is dead concerning the playoffs. Granted, the Giants, okay, they put a lot of points on the Cowboys. Good for them. And the Chiefs' defense is certainly not that great, but I think this is one of those games where the Chiefs just go out and they're going to put it on the Giants. Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm all over the Chiefs as well. The only thing that makes me sad is I almost would guarantee you would bet our entire entry on it that this will be a consensus pick. I know the Chiefs will be a consensus pick, but I disagree with you. I think the Chiefs defense is good. Like, I know they didn't look amazing against the Chargers in week 1, but that was a Brazil game, so I kind of discount that. I think they look good against the Eagles. And they would have probably won that game had Travis Kelce not had that tipped pass where he dropped it. Eagles guy intercepted it in the end zone and then returned it for like 50 yards. Like, they probably would have won that game. So, yeah, the Giants, obviously, they're very gettable. I know the Chiefs don't have the same weapons as the Cowboys, but I don't think much else needs to be said. Like, I'm all over the Chiefs as well.
Yep. And I think
They're winning this game. They're probably crushing the Giants. Like, Patrick Mahomes needs to go out there and, like, actually show, like, hey, I'm Patrick Mahomes. I can beat a team by a lot.
Yeah, I think he just needs to put the rest of the team on his shoulders and just hand it to them. So, yeah, I think we're totally in agreement with that. And I do agree with you. This will probably be one of the consensus picks for sure. But, I'll take a win. We need a win. Finishing up the Monday night game, another game. This reminds me of the Cardinals 49ers game. I don't want any part of it. Maybe you do, but we did well last week taking the Lions, and maybe they are back on track. I hope they are back on track. But the Ravens, they're also, they're a machine. They're, one of the, obviously the best. These are, 2 of the top 5 teams in the league. I don't want any part of this. Not with your money.
Never, ever, ever bet Jared Goff on the road outside against a good team. Ever. But I initially was talking to you earlier this week, and I love Baltimore. And I did bet Baltimore at 5.5, and I'm just going to burn that ticket. Like, I don't think that's coming home. For some reason, that's just not going to come home. And now that it's moving away from them, it's like 4.5, between 4.5 and 5.5. I just don't really think we can put this in the contest. It's going to be a great game to watch. Obviously, I did mention to you that the last time the Lions played at the Ravens beat them by like 30. So there is that, and I do think that is a factor. But I don't know what I'm getting from Baltimore really. Like, on either side of the ball. Like, I think Baltimore's really good. That Cleveland game was kind of confusing to me. Well, I don't know. I think we just wait and see. We gotta wait and see on both these teams. It's too early, but I mean, shit. Both these teams are 1-1. Someone's about to be 1-2, and both these teams are really good, right? Like, the Chiefs are pretty good. They're 0-2. One of these teams is about to be 1-2. Like, there's gonna be a lot of good teams that are gonna be like 1-2.
Right. Yeah, and my fear is the Ravens tend to cough it up in big games, and this is a primetime game. They did that against Buffalo. It's going to be a great game to watch. One I'm not interested in for sure. Okay,
Sure.
let's get down to it. I think we agree.
We have 4, I think, that we're in agreement on, right?
I think we agree on the Chiefs. I think we agree on the Seahawks. I think we agree on the Texans. I think we agree on the Rams.
Yep. We're all there.
That's 4.
Something's funny. We haven't had a lot of games early in this season where we've been like on the complete opposite side. Like once we've come to our final discussion.
Yeah, I think there's been a couple, but not like years past for sure.
Not like we're both banging the table that we need to put that in.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And we did have that in the past, and we were both awesome at that, and we were both awful at it. So I think we've seen both sides. I think what we've got left to talk about, and we can do this fairly quickly, is Colts, Packers, Bengals, Steelers. And of those, I'm as much as I hate to say it.
Not the Bengals?
What's
Hey, you
that?
had the
No,
Bengals
no, I
circled,
said
right?
Colts, Packers, Bengals, Steelers.
Okay, okay.
So for me, I'm probably, I don't know, we can talk Bengals and Steelers maybe. Packers, I'm worried about the hook, the 7.5 on that one. I really like the Colts, you not so much, so I'm okay with that.
I did like the Colts. I'm scared that it's a divisional home dog. Those 0-2 stats are scaring me a little bit. I don't want to be on the wrong side of a bunch of those, you know.
Right. Yeah, and the Bengals Vikings, I'm thinking we maybe need to go with the Steelers because Bengals Vikings, you've got the Jake Browning, Carson Wentz. Who knows what you're going to get out of either one of those guys, right? I do like the Bengals. I will probably bet the Bengals, but when we're talking about our contest picks, we're talking about something, a little more confidence.
I mean, let me just ask you this. Like, do you trust the Steelers on the road to get it done? Like, I know they beat the Jets, but that's a little bit different. Because Jets, well, I guess maybe it's not that different because the Jets have a first-time head coach. In theory, I guess Vrabel's kind of a first-time head coach, but not really.
Yeah, I mean, if the Patriots are playing the Jets at home, the Patriots are probably what, maybe 3.5,
3. I was going to say 3.
2.5, 3, something like that. And I think the Steelers are a much better team than the Jets.
Right, right.
Yeah, I question putting our faith in Aaron Rodgers, but I'm okay with it. I think they probably have that Patriots defense is just, I don't know what their problem is. They got Mike Grable. He's supposed to be a defensive genius, right? But they have not looked that good. When the Dolphins put up that many points on you, that's a problem, right? So,
I guess just maybe more so my question is like, I agree. I like I prefer the Bengals as well, but I'm concerned that about the quarterbacks. I think that we should just avoid the Packers game just because of like how the money's been coming in and the line's been going against them. But like, would you rather take I guess maybe my revised question is, would you rather take a chance that the Colts are actually good and we know the Titans are kind of bad, or would you rather take a chance on Aaron Rodgers? Because if the Colts play like they have played, they'll smoke the Titans.
I know the Titans, is this going to be their first home game?
This is their second home game.
So they've already played a home game.
Right. They played against the Rams last week at home.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So their fans are not going to be
I think this is
all
Indy's
fired
first
up.
road game, though.
Pardon?
I think this is Indy's first road game.
Yeah, that could be correct. I will just check that.
It is. It is their first road game.
Right. They beat a pretty good Broncos defense, right? I mean, granted, they got lucky at the end, but still.
Yeah, but they look good. They look good still.
Still, without that field goal, they still put up 26 on the Broncos, right?
Right.
The Broncos defense, much better than the Titans defense. And, I'm not sure how many points the Titans can put up in this game. Yeah, if you put it that way to me, I have more faith in the Colts being able to beat the Titans.
Actually being good.
Yeah, actually being good. I'm not sure they're playoff good. I think they're.
Well, if they're 3-0, if they go 3-0, they're going to be playoff good.
They might be. If they go 3-0, they might. They might get to 8 or 9 wins, which I think would be a great season for them. But yeah, I have more faith in them being good than faith in Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. What do you think?
I think I kind of agree. And like, I know we're kind of stepping in it with the trend, but I don't want to put my faith in Aaron Rodgers on the road laying points. Now, granted, we're putting our faith in Daniel Jones on the road laying points, but at least I know the Titans are really bad, and the Patriots also might be bad, but not as bad.
Right. And I think we've tried to change our concentration this year on trying to go against bad teams. And, I think that's a good strategy for sure. And I think the Titans are a bad team. I think we're going against the Saints. They're a bad team. We're going against the Giants. They're a fairly bad
Bad
team.
team.
Not as bad as the other two, but not a good team, right? So, yeah. I still think, Cam Ward might be a good quarterback, but if you take a look at, Peyton Manning, Troy Aikman, people like that were terrible in their first seasons, right? It took them a
Right.
year to get some games under their belt and get some people around them, and that's probably where Cam Ward is at. He may be a very good quarterback, but he doesn't have the surrounding cast yet to really move them forward right now. They're probably, 2 seasons away from being competitive. So,
Right.
yeah, they're not competitive, and I think the Colts are probably they gotta be feeling pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I
I mean,
don't
they should be. They should feel pretty good.
Yeah, and it's gonna be outdoors, but, I mean, Daniel Jones we're used to playing outdoors at the Meadowlands, so shouldn't be a problem for him, right?
I mean, yeah, this is not like a first time rodeo for Daniel Jones. And it's not like he's like some old guy, like in his 40s, like Aaron Rodgers. Like Daniel Jones can get outside the pocket and move a little bit if he needs to.
Yep, for sure. Okay, so
All right.
we're gonna go with Kansas City, Seattle, Houston, the Rams, and Indianapolis.
A little scared on Indianapolis, but we're going to do it.
Well, I mean, these 5th games last week, our last pick was Tampa Bay, right? And we squeaked that out.
That was fine. Yeah, that was fine.
I mean, the first
Yeah.
couple of games are always easy. It's the last couple that are tough to pick. So, we talked it out and we're in agreement. Okay. 5-0 this week. Let's do it.
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope so. That would move us up like 1,000 spots, I think.
Maybe it would. Okay. I'm going to get those picks in right away.
All right. Perfect. Sounds good. And we'll sign off, and then we'll be back next week with another edition
of Chasing Circa Millions.
Thanks for listening to Chasing Circa Millions. We always welcome feedback, suggestions, and criticism. You can reach us at @CornfieldGolf on Twitter. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, leave a comment, and cross your fingers for our picks.